Rev up your engines and get ready to talk NASCAR betting. Join Brendan Gaughan and Jeff Motley as they get you ready to cash tickets on this weekend's race.
18 to 1 to win, plus 450 for a top three.
Give me that 130 number, and I think that's a pretty good return.
I like the 4 bet. I just think there'd be better bets somewhere else.
Gone Racing, streaming to YouTube every Thursday at noon Pacific.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Happy Friday, everybody. You made it through another tough week. One more day of work, and then we hope everybody enjoys their 3-day weekend. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everyone. This is Sports by the Book. You can find us 5 days a week. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Alex White, Ryan McCormick here with you for the next hour. But joining us at the top of the show, quite a surprise and a pleasure. We got Chris Andrews, Sportsbook Director here at the South Point. Excited to talk with you because it's never too early to start talking football.
Well, yeah, I mean, football anymore, it's 12 months of the year. There's no rest for football, and even college is starting to be like that.
Yeah, it really is, and they're moving
in the
it
old
up.
days, before the transfer portal and all that, I used to have stuff about now for college football, but I'm nowhere near ready, and probably nobody else is either. You know, just have to go through all the transfers and all that other stuff.
Isn't it wild now, too, Chris, with all the international games that we've just added more and more in the NFL, and now college football will be kicking off in different countries like they did last year.
Yeah. I mean, they are spreading the game. I mean, it's one of the mantras of Roger Goodell. He's certainly done that better than any of the other past commissioners. I'm not crazy about the multiple days of the week, they have not overexposed themselves yet, but they may at some point.
It's a very fine line,
It
right?
is, yeah.
Because I think that's what makes football king is having the Saturday college
Right.
football, Sunday NFL, where people look forward to that one day. And the Monday, Thursday, great, of course, but
That's
yeah,
good. Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I've knocked the Thursday games for years too because I don't think the teams are well enough prepared. They're usually coming into a short week.
yeah,
I think there's a better way to do it, but probably greater minds than I say no. I'd like to see them have the Thursday game after a bye.
yeah,
Because I don't think Thursday's hard for the veterans to lick their wounds, and it's hard for the coaches to get a game plan together, a proper game plan together. And I think we've seen some sporadic play on Thursdays. So now this year we have a Wednesday Eve, Thanksgiving Eve game. I don't know. I mean, like you said, one of the things about football is the anticipation. And all week we might be talking about the Sunday night game or the Monday night game. Well, now, I mean, we're going to start talking about the Tuesday night game. When's that start? So I don't know. I think, I'm hoping they don't get over. I love football. I love college football. I love pro football. I'm just hoping they don't ruin it. And right now, even college is looking at. I don't think they'll ruin it, but I'm not the 2014
Oh my
playoffs.
gosh.
I think that's too much. I have advocated for the 16, but the way I would do it is every conference champion has an automatic berth. I mean, we don't know how good, James Madison. I mean, we didn't know how good they were. They came out of nowhere, and it's a good program. And we don't know
yeah.
how good these programs could be. So I'd like to see that happen if it does go to. I think it's going to go to 24, but I think 16 is a lot better.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. But as you always say, you get the schedule, you book the games,
Yeah.
and you get the action.
Yeah, I mean, all the time, guys. Especially during the NCAA tournament, we should have a bookmaker on the committee. No, we shouldn't. You guys do your thing. We'll do our thing. It's worked out fine so far.
Yes. Even though the power ratings, we do know.
Yeah, well, that gives us betting opportunities too, though,
It's
right?
very true.
Yeah,
Yes. So looking at this, and we do
Mhm.
have season win totals here for the 26-27 NFL season. Any movement so far? And you were kind of saying off air, you'll know when bettors jump in and they think you
Yeah.
made a mistake, but nothing dramatic yet.
Nothing dramatic yet. And looking at the market, there's now one thing. A lot of guys in the market, they have everything on the half game. I'm not crazy about that idea. And a lot of these guys with that money on the half game or with the point spread, whatever you want to call it, the total on the half game, they only move the money. And sometimes we do move the actual win total. So it's hard to avoid. You can maybe open everything on the half game, but I didn't. I opened some whole numbers. But at one point it just it's prohibitive. Like let's say you open a game 10 and everybody likes the under, and you get 10 under minus $2 or you're scaring away action. Because nobody wants to lay the $2,
Yeah.
but they don't want to take the wrong side and bet over even at a juicy price. So I think you're better off moving the number and having a little better equilibrium.
Can we use the Cardinals as an example here? Because I see that you have 4.5 juice to the under minus 145.
Yeah.
How, if you start getting action on that under, when do you think you would move to a 4?
Well, let me just say, I also, and I, it's a competitor of ours, but it's also a friend of mine, Nick Bogdanovich, runs Boomers. He's using 4.5 under 30. So I went as far as I could go,
Okay.
I think, at under 45. But if we get probably like 50 or 55 is my threshold, and then I would move that number. But again, now you have to look and anticipate, how am I going to win or lose this bet? Hi. How am I going to win or lose this bet? So if you bet under 4.5, they have to be 4-13. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Right? You think they might be able to squeeze out 5 wins? I mean, it is the NFL, but I kind of don't think they will myself, but that's why I use 4.5, being pretty heavily juiced towards the under, but again, okay, that's one example, but let's take like the Bears are like 9.5. Now, do you think they're going to go 9-8? I think they're going to go 10-7. How am I going to win this bet? How am I going to lose this bet? You have to always kind of think in that way. And of course, things are going to happen, but I've mentioned this on the air over the years. At these prices right now, what we're looking at right now, everything's kind of priced for perfection as far as we know it right now. I mean, who thought the Bears were going to win the division last year?
Right.
Probably very few people. That's the one example that jumps out at me right away. But there's teams that are going to be way better, and there's teams that are going to be way worse. Like right now, I think the Saints are going to be pretty good. What do I got them? 7.5 over a quarter, I believe.
7.5 over 130.
Over 30. Okay, so I think they're going to be pretty good. I do. I think they have a pretty good chance of being 8-9. Weak division, not a terribly strong schedule. But I mean, would it be surprised if they had 5 wins? I mean, you're talking about Chuck. I like the kid. He's a second-year quarterback. Maybe he's not as good as he kind of showed last year as that sophomore jinx. So you always have to kind of think of that. What can happen? And there's stuff that's going to happen that we have no idea at this point in time what it's going to be. And that's the beauty of really all sports.
That's so funny. You just hit on so many teams that I was kind of looking at here.
Okay.
And I got to give Jeff Parles his flowers because he is the only person I heard that was saying that the Bears could win that division last year. So that was a very good call by him. And then looking at the Saints, going to week 1, because we also do have week 1 lines.
Yeah, week 1 up too, yeah.
We got sides and totals here. That
money
one jumped,
lines.
that jumped out to me. I'm like, oh, we're getting a touchdown here with the Saints.
Yeah.
But it is the other angle with the Lions, and Campbell has been very good.
Yeah.
At least straight up and relatively good against the spread in week 1.
I made my own numbers. Now, of course, here at South Point, we do everything at the -110. So I have to be a little bit careful around the 7 and around the 3. I'm pretty conservative there. I made that number 6.5 myself. So, is that enough to jump in 3 months in advance? No. But I do kind of favor the dog a little bit here. I just think, 7, once again, how am I going to lose this bet? Well, probably they got to win by 8, 9, 10, something like that. That's hard week 1.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in a contest. So good friends of mine, Vinny was on this team too. There was a bunch of us. We played we were in the Circa Survivor. And one of the games we had was the Niners going to the Bears. And this is when Trey Lance was their starting quarterback week 1 on the road. I said, are you guys crazy? I mean, we had like a lot of plays on that. And of course, the Bears beat them, who weren't that good that year. I said, we have a rookie quarterback on the road. And this is going to be like a big play of ours. And of course, nobody listened to me. What do I always say, Alex? I hate being right all the time.
That's right. Kind of circling back to those Cardinals there with the very low win total. I believe it is the lowest. And then we got the Jets at 5.5.
Yeah.
Do you kind of have to anticipate, because I know, well, you tell me as a bookmaker how you treat this. There's so much talk about Arch Manning already and which team is going to get the number 1 overall pick next year. We'll see how it pans out. I do anticipate him having a better year with Texas this year, being the full-time starter for a second year in a row. But so when you set those numbers, you're kind of anticipating that too, just with how the year is going to play out.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I have to think about that before I set the numbers. But at this point, okay, I'm going to react, number 1, to the money. That's going to be the main thing. I'm going to try to react to the news, because they haven't gone into. They've had the mini camp that's not mandatory, but then we have mandatory mini camp, and then right around the corner they go to real camp,
right?
There's injuries going to happens every year in football, and we'll see about certain things like how does this team look, for. And again, you have to kind of decipher the news coming out of there. There's a lot of coach speak, and sometimes they underplay how good a team is. Sometimes they overplay how good a team is. So you kind of have to look at that, and you try to filter out who's telling you the truth and who isn't. That can be very difficult in any walk of life,
Yeah.
but particularly in our business.
Looking at the divisions here, because you do have division
Yeah.
odds out as well. Just off the top of your head, can you think about who is the most competitive division going into the season?
Well, I think the NFC West, and that's one of the reasons you have the Arizona total so low. I mean, they got 2 games against the Rams, 2 against the Seahawks, 2 against the Niners. Now, I hear some people think the Niners might be taking a step back this year. I'm not so sure. They haven't drafted all that well in the last couple of years, and that's one of the things that starts showing up after a few years. So I can understand the feelings on that. But, of course, the Rams and Seahawks, I mean, they were the 2 best teams in the NFL last year.
Right.
And I don't see either one of them taking too big of a step back. But, again, we got to wait till we get into camp. There's injuries, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's a very competitive division. And I think Arizona right there, I just named 6 games.
Yeah.
They're going to be pretty significant underdogs, even at home, against all 6 of those games.
It's such a good point when you are looking at these win totals. I mean, really have to dive into the schedule, kind of map it out, and try to do your best about, how many games are going to be an underdog in. That's just division games.
Yeah.
So looking at Pittsburgh Steelers in that division.
Yeah.
For a while, it was a very constant division, right?
Sure.
We knew the head coaches,
Right.
quarterbacks. This year, it's a kind of a jumbled mess with a lot of changes in it from top to bottom.
We got 3 new head coaches. Cincinnati, who I think is pretty good. I have them pretty high. What's their win total? Yeah, okay. I see mostly like 9.5 over juiced.
Yeah.
I made it 10 with a little bit of juice to the under, just for the arbitrage guys that are out there. I'm going to make them pay for that. But I like Cincinnati this year. I think they're healthy. I think Burrow, if he stays healthy, that's always a big if, because he hasn't always been healthy. But I think they did some good things. There is some continuity on the Bengals that you do not see with the Steelers. You certainly don't see with the Browns. And I hate to say, and I'm probably a little biased being a Steeler fan, I think Baltimore is probably overrated. I mean, every year Jackson's a holdout, and they have a new coach. They didn't play all that well last year either. All of a sudden we think they're going to be right at the top. They're one of the highest win totals anywhere, and I kind of juiced that down a little bit. Yeah, I got the lowest. I'm using 11.5, pretty much like the market, but I got as juice to the under as I can. Now they wound up getting money all the time, every year, to win the Super Bowl, to win the division. They'll probably get money on the season win totals over. But I'm a little skeptical on them. Now here's a theory I've had for many years, and it's our show. I could say what I want, I guess. These running quarterbacks, which is Lamar Jackson, and I know he's improved in the pocket, etc. I always said, guys who are taking all those hits, it can hurt you during the course of a game by the fourth quarter. It can hurt you during the course of a season while you're taking all those hits. It also can hurt you during the course of a career. And, he's been here for a while now. He's a little older than you might imagine. He's taken a lot of hits over the years. And, again, new coach, new coaching staff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this team, I'm not saying they're set up for a fall, but I'm not so sure they could be so great again this year. And they weren't that great last year. I think we're looking maybe, look at the last decade. They've been there pretty much every year. And I'm going to give you an example about the quarterbacks. You look at Steve Young. He sat on the bench for a long time. Then when he finally got his chance, when, Montana was traded to Kansas City, he was a little older by then. So he knew the game really well. So he didn't sacrifice his body all those years, getting hit as he learned to. I mean, listen, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I still think he's a little underrated. I think he's one of the all-time greats. But again, he fits in with that theory. He did not take that beating in the beginning of his career. Once he got that starting job, he was pretty much an accomplished quarterback already.
It will be interesting because when it was John Harbaugh, you could pretty much pencil them in double-digit win, right? And they'd be right there. Last year, underachieved, just 8 wins. Now we got Jesse Minter in his first year. Nobody really knows how it's going to go, and they are set at 11.5. So
I mean, he might be Vince Lombardi, and they win 13, 14 games. I'm not sure that would shock anybody either.
Right, he
but
has the
I
talent.
just don't think. I think there's a better chance that they fall short of that.
I am intrigued, and Chris just mentioned it. Bengals here, the win total is 10, but if you do like the over, think they can win that division and get to 11 wins, you are getting a plus 105 if you go for the over here.
Yeah.
So
what do I have them to win the division?
They spent some money.
I know. That's what, again, I've been following the Bengals since Paul Brown started the franchise in whatever it was, 67. They never spent money, but now they did. I think maybe they finally woke up and said, we got a chance to win this thing. What do I have them to win the division?
Let's see. So they are plus 230. So the Ravens are odds-on favorite.
Yeah, again, I'm following the market pretty much because listen. I have my opinion, but you have to respect the money. The money shows on them a lot. But I think the Bengals. Boy, I might go out and bet. So, I'm sure I don't have the best price, but I'd probably find one. But boy, I hate to root for the Bengals all year. I'll tell you right now. But I do think there's some value there. I think they have a pretty good chance to win what could be a weak division.
All right, what do we think about the Giants this year? Because we were high on the Giants last year with the talent that they had and just didn't pan out. Now, new head coach there in John Harbaugh, who is pretty proven.
Well, again, I know a guy who knows a guy who knows John Harbaugh. It's not his favorite guy. He doesn't like Harbaugh. But for years, when I was on that other network, I always thought Harbaugh was the second best coach in the NFL, next to Bill Belichick. Now, they had a bad year last year, and they fired him. And maybe it was one of those deals where it was just time. It's kind of like with Mike Tomlin. It was just time to move on. But I think he walks into a pretty good situation. I think last year we saw a lot of talent out of the Giants. Going into the season, we knew they had a horribly difficult schedule.
Right.
And they didn't win a lot of games. But now they got Jackson Dart, and I hope somebody could beat some sense into him and not take a beating. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, I keep thinking of my favorite player of all time, Andrew Luck, who I think would have been an all-time great. But Andrew made a mistake. He didn't protect himself. And the league is set up to protect quarterbacks. Take advantage of that. I mean, Andrew's 10 times smarter than me, but I wish he would have taken more care of himself. But that's something that Jackson Dart doesn't seem that interested in.
Right.
So I don't know what's going to happen. And, you got Scatterboo coming back. And, I mean, they have a nucleus of a very, very good team. And, I kind of like their win total a little bit over, but they don't have that great a schedule this year either. They got a pretty difficult schedule.
7.5 here at the South Point.
I'm trying to think, what did I see around town on that? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much that number. I think I got 7.5 over $1.20. That's the highest price you'll see. I see 7.5 flat, 7.5 over 15, like in that range. So,
Ryan, jump in here. I know that you have been eager to talk some football, and now that we do have all these odds out here at the South Point, any questions for Chris?
Looking at the win totals, I do see that the NFC North, obviously I'm going to selfishly go there as my Chicago Bears are in that division, but every one of those teams has at least or is projected to go over 500. The Vikings are the lowest at that 8.5 with the juice to the over. The Bears are at 9.5, the Packers are at 10, and the Lions are at 10.5. So, Chris, what do you think of that division as a whole?
Well, once again, I think that division as a whole is going to be very tough. Now, here's some rumblings. Boy, you'll probably really like to hear this. That the Packers may have some difficulties. Micah Parsons, I'm not sure he's going to be ready week one. And we saw how much of an impact he had on that defense when he was missing last year at the end of the last season. I don't know. And then, again, this is just rumblings, and I'm not sure who to listen to and who not to. But, like, some guys are saying, boy, I think the league maybe has figured Love out a little bit, that maybe, we thought it was going to be a nice transition, Hall of Famer, Favre, Rodgers, Love. I'm not sure he's on that other level yet. Oh, he's certainly not on it yet. I don't know if he's ever going to get there. Ever get there or not. But I'm hearing little rumblings. But, I think they're still good. I think they're well coached. And, it is a very solid organization and has been really for 25 years, and you would expect them to be, right in the thick of it. But that's a really tough division right there. I think to me, the wild card is Minnesota.
Yeah.
Was McCarthy, how good is he or how not good is he? And, I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. I've just never been a Kyler Murray fan. Like I said, he'll have the best highlight reel in the league, but that doesn't always win you a lot of games.
I want to build on that, though, because to Ryan's point, all 4 teams did finish above 500 last year. And that could be where you guys set these win totals and looking at the roster, and the roster changes, of course. But, I mean, that might be an opportunity for bettors to jump in and maybe target 1 or 2 teams because, I mean, the chances of 3 finishing with 9 wins and then the Bears, who won the division with 11, that's pretty tough to do back-to-back years.
Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely. But once again, there's so many things we don't know. And right now, this is like with the best information we have currently. But that's why you see most of the wise guys bet under.
Yeah.
Because like these things are priced for perfection, essentially. Well, what can go wrong? I don't know. I mean, could Josh Allen get hurt? Okay, then, we've seen Joe Burrow get hurt. He's
Right.
definitely one of the best in the league. Lamar Jackson, could he get hurt? I mean, Matthew Stafford's, 38 years old? Could he get hurt? All these guys, you get a key injury. And, I just talked about quarterbacks. How about Michael Parsons? He was a defensive lineman, and things like that, and we talked about cluster injuries too. That just is as happenstance. That can happen and send a team in a downward spiral, and that happens a lot. But that's why I see most of the wise guys, and again, I'm painting with a very broad brush here, most of them tend to bet under more than over.
Kansas City, of course, Patrick Mahomes coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Their win total set at 10.5, under 40, though.
I'm not sure he's going to be there week 1. And I was just kind of going over these this morning, and I have the Chiefs 3 against the Broncos. Now, let me back up a second. It looks like Knicks will be okay week 1 from what I'm hearing. But I'm not sure about Mahomes. Now, my numbers came to 2.5 in this game. And I just saw a 2.5 in the market today. So I may go to 2.5 there myself. Because I think, first of all, I always thought that Kansas City's home field's a little overrated. Not that they're not good at home, but they're good everywhere. It doesn't matter if they're home or not. But I think right now, I think 3 would be a one-way number for me at this point in time because I'm not sure Mahomes is going to be ready.
I want to see the Broncos home and away last year as well. At home, 8-1.
Yeah.
So they definitely
no, they have a
used
good
the
home
mile
field
high
advantage.
to their advantage. But in division, they finished 9-1. 5-1 last year. So did play the Chiefs well.
Yeah.
I think they might have beat them twice. So
remember they lost that one game too on a blocked field goal, like a 30-yarder or whatever it was. Was that 2 years ago? I think.
No, that was
last year.
It was early last
my
year.
God, yeah.
It might have. Was that the Giants? Who was that? No, it was Indianapolis when they were on that hot run, wasn't it?
Well, I can't remember.
Ryan, you got to help us out here. You're still young. I got to go to last year, 2025.
You said blocked field goal to win?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Denver against Kansas City.
It was Colts week 2, wasn't it?
What do you mean Colts?
Or are
week?
we talking about a different game?
No, Denver and Kansas City.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you remember when the Colts went into Denver though? And
Yes, yeah.
That call. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I'm
of.
thinking. 2 years ago was that Denver
Okay.
Kansas City blocked field goal. Anyway, okay, and listen, I'm another one. I'm going to say this, and everybody knows me. Growing up in the Steel City in the 60s and 70s, of course I'm not a Raider fan. I think the Raiders are going to be pretty good this year. I like a lot of things that they've done. I mean, a lot of things that they've done. And we just talked about Kansas City may have taken a step back. Denver was really good last year. Usually in this league, it's not just a quick ascension. It's up, back, up. Takes a couple years to get there. So would Denver take a step back? I think they might. The Chargers, I don't know. I keep waiting for them to break through, and hasn't happened yet. But I think the Raiders Kind of like them a little this year.
The Chargers, the Broncos are in what looks to be like a regression to the mean where they won so many one-score games last year. And we saw what happened to the Chiefs after their magical run and the one-score games. And then last year, it was kind of reverse. Same thing with the Bengals, too. So I'm with you on that. Raider fans are trying to keep their expectations
listen,
level. But
it's 5.5. But I have the highest juice to the over in the market. I have it over $1.50. I see $1.35. I see $1.45. So I'm ahead of the market. We'll see where it goes from there. I think this Raider team has, first of all, Cousins, he's not going into the Hall of Fame. But you know what? He's a pretty darn good quarterback. I mean, that's just going to improve the play from last year, and Genti, I think, is good. And Crosby looks like he's on board with, after the trade got nixed. And, I think their front office is suddenly much better than it has been. And, I think Davis is probably given some power to those guys beneath him that, I don't think Tom Brady gets on board unless he was told, yeah, you're not just here to look pretty, which he does. That's why I hate those guys. But in other words, I think he's going to be involved in some of the decision making. And listen, he's been successful in everything he's ever done.
Clint Kubiak, a lot of really good
like Kubiak.
Press conferences coming from him. He's actually smiling, seems very excited about this team. So I was talking about Brock Bowers being a football robot. So he is.
Oh, love that kid.
He is
love
very excited to get to work with that tight end who has been very good. So we're excited. We're going to break this down with the Raiders. Chris, if you were betting it, was that one that you would look for a 6 out there and take a chance of just pushing rather than laying all that juice with an over 5.5?
Being as bookmaker as long as I've been, I hate laying big numbers. Even, we bet that we're on that baseball thing. I'm looking to take a price. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just kind of bugs me always to lay price. Now, I have over the years, don't get me wrong. If I think there's value, I do it. But I think, I'm looking at my sports book. It's rated 5.5 over 50. I mean, to me, I think I'd rather bet over 6, maybe even money, something like that. Maybe even with a little bit of a plus you might be able to find in the market. But right now I'm looking, I'm hoping these guys bet me Raiders under, because I think they'll be better than 5-12. That's what you're looking at. You're betting under. Okay, how am I going to win this bet? Oh, okay, they got to be 5-12. Well, I think there's a better chance that they're 6-11, to tell you the truth. I think there's a better chance they might even be better than that. So I do like I would not want to lay a whole bunch of juice just because we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, what if Cousins does get hurt? I mean, he is, how old is he, 36, something like that? I mean, he could get hurt easily, and, geez, I don't know. Who's the backup? I'm not even sure.
Mendoza.
Oh, Mendoza. Oh.
But when he's ready.
Yeah, when he's ready. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we don't know how that's going to work out
I guess
either.
it
That's
is,
my brain.
O'Connell.
Yeah, okay.
If it was sooner
And
than
Mendoza,
they wanted Mendoza to
okay, and
get
that's
out there.
another example where I think they handled this right. They knew Mendoza. They knew from last year Mendoza was going to be the number one choice. Big, strong. He's got all the tangibles and intangibles. But they brought in a veteran quarterback so they could bring him along slowly.
Yep.
Yeah, and O'Connell, I don't think much of him, and I think they kind of know that. But Mendoza, I'm not sure when he'll be ready, and I'm glad they're not throwing him to the dogs right away because the team is not that good, and we don't want him to get beat up. Listen, I told you, I'm not a Raider fan growing up in Pittsburgh and those years, but now I'm in Las Vegas. It'd be good for the city if they're at least good. They don't have to march to the Super Bowl every year, but I'd love to see a team that could post 9 or 10 wins every season. I think it'd be good for the city.
Absolutely. And to your point, I mean, every division is the black and blue, and we know the AFC North. But this division, I mean, you've got some really good coaches, and we always talk about the trenches. And I mean, when you're facing the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Chargers, led by those coaches, you don't want to just throw out your rookie quarterback. So
excellent coaching all the way through.
Yeah, it is a very tough division. Ryan, anything more on NFL before we move to some MLB? And speaking of laying big prices, I know a lot of people are sweating right now if they happen to lay $2 or more on Carolina or Colorado after
Wow.
both of them losing game one.
Yeah, Vinny and I were talking about it before the game yesterday. How many days in a row was Carolina off?
12.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking 11 in my head, but I guess it's 12. I'm thinking, man, how does that affect them? But and then, I know Kaluch is a big Canadians fan. He's got to be smiling today. Well, I talked about it on this show. I thought Colorado and Carolina were on a collision course. That collision course don't look so good right now. I got to tell you. The Knights, a lot of sharp guys pick the Knights, and I think the McCarr injury, and he's out again. You have guys asking me, how much does the blue line mean? And to me, it's like your offensive line in the NFL. You kind of take it for granted, really. But then when they're missing, you say, oh, man, that makes a big difference. So I think McCarr, a lot of guys think he's the best defenseman in the league. Right. You're missing that guy in the middle. The middle of the ice, or defending the goal. Makes a huge difference.
Do we know? I know that Stone is skating, so we're kind of trying to wait to see if Mark Stone was coming back.
Yeah.
But for sure,
I don't know.
McCarr is out.
Oh, yeah, it came
McCarr,
across this morning.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it came across this morning. He's out.
Okay.
I mean, how long? I mean, we don't know. If he's out, the whole series, I mean, I think the Knights have a pretty decent shot. And like I said, a lot of the sharp, guys that I listened to in hockey, thought the Knights had a hell of a chance.
They have a very good roster. I mean, when you started the season, we started win totals. We were looking at, odds on favorite. They were right there because their power rating has been that high. Them, Colorado and Carolina. We'll see if Carolina can bounce back. Now they are 0-4 against Montreal this season. So going into the regular season.
Vinny was mentioning that yesterday when we were talking. I said, it doesn't mean everything, but it does mean something.
Could be a matchup problem.
And by the way, let's go back to the Knights. Tortorella, short term, is really good.
Yes.
He wears himself out pretty quick, too. But he's only been there for 2 months, whatever it is. He hasn't worn himself out yet, and he is a good coach. He could rub you the wrong way eventually, but so not yet.
Well, the league let him have it. They definitely gave him a nice size fine for missing that press conference and a second-round pick. So
yeah, and I never liked Tortorella. He's a big Penguin hater, and
it's been fun, though. It's been fun to watch them turn it around and play like a team again, because it was getting very frustrating watching them lose these games and, going to overtime night after night. And just, you could tell something was off. So, okay. Thank you so much for stopping in. These are all available on the app as well, or is this at the counter? Okay.
App and the counter. And we got more coming soon. I'll have yes or no to make the playoffs. I'm going to wait a little while yet, though. I've put those up over the years, and we've done okay with it, but there's not a huge market for it. That's usually a wise guy kind of.
Do the Steelers make the playoffs? Are you happy about Aaron Rodgers coming back one more year?
No.
That was no to the second question, not the first one.
Well,
so we don't know.
That'd be a hell of a parlay.
Correlated.
Reunited with Mike McCarthy. I guess we'll see what happens.
It's one of those, if people are throwing Rodgers' numbers at me from last year, and I got to say, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
But I also watched what's going on the field. Sometimes, numbers never lie. Well, sometimes they do. In this case, they do.
That's funny. There's actually a really good analytics quote that came out yesterday from one of the Knicks players.
I love that. Go ahead. You say it.
You're going to have to say it so I don't mess it up.
I'm going to probably mess it up. They said analytics are like a lamppost.
That's right.
It's nice to lean on, but it's not going to get you home.
That's right. Like a lamppost when you're drunk. It's nice to lean on.
When you're drunk. Yeah.
But it's not going to get you home. So very good.
Yeah.
Last but not least, because we've been following your system play here for the MLB. And it's been
a rough
very
week.
profitable. A little bit of a rough week.
Nothing today.
Do we have
right?
anything today?
No, nothing today, right?
Yeah, nothing today.
Okay.
I'm sticking with it. Yeah, I've been playing it.
Have you been playing Tampa Bay? Because we've been following the Rays, and we've been on it for at least a week and a half.
I have not.
Some of us for more, and they just keep finding ways to win. So
I love that franchise.
Yeah.
Like I always say, the Pirates should model themselves after Tampa Bay.
Incredible. If you look at the AL right now, all 3 division leaders, the Guardians and Tampa Bay bottom 5 at salary, right?
Yeah.
And then the A's, they're like
Yeah.
bottom 10. I think they're
Yeah.
10th or 11th.
Again, that's been a good franchise for a long time, with very modest means.
Yeah, definitely. They do things right, small ball, and do very good with their pitching staff.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, Ryan, in the chat. If anybody had anything for Chris, I see a few people in there, but it doesn't look like we have any questions yet for football. Okay, well, thank you so much for stopping in. We'll see you again next week, I'm sure. Enjoy. I don't know if you get a 3-day weekend.
No, but I do. I'm off Sundays and Mondays anymore. That's,
Okay.
executive privilege.
Barbecuing on Monday or any plans?
Do I look like a communist? Of course I'm barbecuing on Monday.
Okay, we'll be enjoying the holiday. We appreciate you. We'll be right back on Sports by the Book. We got to talk playoff hockey, playoff NBA, and Major League Baseball here on Sports by the Book.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza. South Point Casino has plenty.
There you go, a strike for you on our way back in for Sports by the Book. I'm Alex White alongside Ryan McCormick. Ryan, we got to jump in. We kind of skipped our recap from yesterday. Maybe I was trying to skip it. I kind of jinxed myself after a very solid start to the week. Thursday was a rough one for me, 0-3 on the plays for yesterday. Hopefully you had a better day. I know you did have some winners, and I know you had the Canadians, and I completely called that game incorrectly. So take it away. Let us know how your whiteboard was and our trends from yesterday.
So we'll start with the whiteboard because I did have a successful day. 3-1, up 2-7-5. The Nationals were the lone home underdog system play. They did not win yesterday. They were the lone loser on my whiteboard. The A's did find a way to win, plus a 105. The Canadians found a way, and the Knicks pulled away. So up 2-7-5 on the units was the whiteboard. For yesterday's recap, brought to you by the South Point Sportsbook, based on the closing odds for before first pitch, tip-off, and puck drop. 7 Major League Baseball games yesterday. Favorites went 4-3 straight up. 4 games had a run line covered, including 2 of which were reverse by the Guardians, which first pitch was while we were in show. I was on the Guardians that day, so it was a good day yesterday. The Blue Jays also found a way to get it done against the Yankees. Totals trended to the under, 5-2 to the under, so 2-5 if you go over under. 2-5 were the totals. Home underdog system play yesterday was the Nationals. They did not win. So down 1 unit is the home underdog system, now to 44-39 this year as a record, up 17.53 units. Just another note on the Major League Baseball games, all National League favorites win and all American League favorites lose. So that was your 4-3. To the hardwood, where we had the Knicks pull away in Game 2. Knicks win and cover on the closing number of 5 in Game 2, 109-83. Total goes under the 215. All 5 Knicks starters played at least 32 minutes in the game. So bringing back a little bit of Tom Thibodeau. He's obviously not their coach anymore. But all 5 of those starters also contribute at least 14 points to the NHL game yesterday, where the Hurricanes looked like they were going to have no rust, scoring 33 seconds into the game. But then the Canadiens responded with 4 goals in the next 11 minutes to take a 4-1 lead into the first intermission break. So favorites 0-1 in the NHL yesterday. Montreal recovered a reverse puck line, and the game goes over the total as Montreal gets it there by themselves, 6-2 with the final, with 5 different goal scorers. So Canadiens get a 1-game series lead to start it. So we had the Spurs, the Knights, the Canadiens all get as underdogs take game 1 in those series. The Cavs blew it in theirs. So
very easily could have, though.
Yeah.
That is pretty wild. Just 3 out of the 4, and Cleveland had a 20-point lead with 8 minutes to go and found a way to lose that one. So, All right. Post from yesterday?
Post from yesterday was talking about that Eastern Conference series that began on the ice. So the Carolina Hurricanes and Montreal Canadiens, heads Carolina, tails Montreal, who will represent the Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup final. 80% of the vote going with the big series favorite going into game 1. The Carolina Hurricanes, only 20% of the vote is with me and the Montreal Canadiens. Today's post, which you might have to refresh the video in order to get the correct link for that one. But it is talking about a second season series sweep. After sweeping their opponent earlier this year, they now take on the same opponent this weekend, and can they pull off the sweep again in their second meeting? So the Tampa Bay Rays swept the Yankees earlier this year in Tampa, and now get a chance to do so here in Yankee Stadium. And the Kansas City Royals pulled off the season series sweep in Seattle. Now get to try to do the same in Kansas City. So of those two, who is more likely to do it? That's our post. And we gave you the flip side here today for our live viewers watching in show. So returning the favor, which team returns the favor and sweeps the opponents for their second season series? So Yankees doing the reverse sweep against the Rays here in Yankee Stadium, or the Mariners getting it back in Kansas City, a little home revenge situation there. Seattle would then tie the season series 3-3. Yankees would still be down in that season series 4-3 if they were to pull off the reverse sweep in this situation this weekend, winning all 3 games this weekend. But with that, we'll get it started with today's baseball. If you're ready, Alex.
I am ready to go.
All right, go ahead.
Kind of forced it yesterday. I really didn't like much on the board. Today, I think I'm seeing it. I'm excited. I've got some plays that I do really like. So we'll get right to it.
All right, we'll start in the interleague because we have an 11:20 Pacific first pitch, and that's about 35 minutes away, and who knows if we'll get to that on time in this next one. So Astros on the north side of Chicago, they've taken on the Cubbies. Spencer Arrighetti versus Jameson Taillon. Cubs are a -140 home favorite, even though their lineup is really struggling. +130 for the Stros. 7 is the total with a 120 to the under because the wind is blowing in from center field.
Got to imagine the Cubs will be happy to be seeing the Astros, right? It was Braves and then White Sox, their rivals, and then the Brewers. So I do think that they should be successful in this series. I think the prices are just right here, right? Maybe a little bit high on Taillon. Spencer Arrighetti has been really good here for Houston so far this year. So lean a little bit to the under with the wind blowing in. I think the adjustment was made correctly with a 7. Could have went maybe to a 6.5, but no play for me in this game. What about you?
So you mentioned it, and you set it up perfectly. Spencer Arrighetti has been absolutely outstanding to start this year. He's coming off his 4th one-hit start of his career through 7 1/3 against the Rangers, allowing 1 hit, which was the second best start of his career. The best start of his career would have came last year in Philadelphia. He threw 7 2/3, 1 hit, 10 strikeouts, and a 10-0 win. That was last year. Coming off of his best start this year, second best start of his career, if you want to make the argument, 7 1/3 against the Rangers. Following up that start last year against the Phillies, he was in Cincinnati. He gave up 9 runs on 5 hits and did not get 3 outs in that game, in that start against the Reds. I don't think it'll trend the same way. This Cubs lineup needs to have that kind of bounce back, but they're really struggling. Just get swept at home against the Brewers. The day off could be a good help, but am I confident in this Cubs lineup to get to Spencer Arrighetti? Absolutely not. Am I confident that the Astros should be able to put up runs against Jameson Taillon? Yes. Jameson Taillon has allowed a major league high 16 home runs so far this year. The Astros have a couple guys that have some pretty solid pop that could probably get through the wind. So if JMO is allowing base runners, it's not going to go well. Cubbies lineup, I think, is going to struggle against Arrighetti here today. So I think the dog is live. Best price in the market is here at the South Point, that plus 130. Does look like another shop just moved to a plus 110, so a 20-cent difference from here to a different shop, and that same shop moved their total down to 6.5 with the juice to the over, 130 to the over. So, but again, I know I'm trying to bring it out because it's been successful so far this year on the Fridays wearing their City Connects or City, not City Connects, City Blues. So granted, I am a Cubs fan. I'm going to be rooting for them to win, but I don't think they pull it off today.
Just be like JR, put a little bit on that plus 130. I mean, it's worked out great for him. Every time he bets against the Reds, they win.
The emotional hedge.
Yeah. So if you're okay with whatever, you're okay losing, and we'll be happy your team won there.
All right, we'll go back up in rotation number order. We'll go to Cincinnati, a National League Central battle with the Cardinals in Cincinnati taking on the Reds. Second start as a Red for Chris Paddack. Got DFA'd by the Marlins, elected free agency, and signed with the Reds. Did not do well in his last start with the Reds, but he gets the Cardinals here today, a team that he has seen earlier this year. The Reds are a minus 119, home favorite plus 109 for those Cardinals. 9.5 is the total.
I know it feels like a very high total, but with these two pitchers going, it could only be an overplay for me. The books are setting the first 5 at 5. So that's all you really need to know, because median numbers, I mean, it matches perfect with Kyler Lee. His median earned run is 3, going 5 innings, 5 hits. And then looking at Paddack, 6 hits and 2 earned runs. So there's your 5. I do think both offenses could get going here today. And then I'm not very confident in either bullpen. So it would be over 9.5 for me. And I definitely think that we could get runs. What do you think?
So the thing that I was looking at when I was looking at this game last night is I wanted to see Kyle Leahy's outs. He's having an absolutely outstanding month of May. Pitcher outs. Not there, because we don't know what we're going to see from Paddack either. Great month of May, 16 and a third, 13 hits allowed, 2 runs after a terrible April where he went 24 and a third, allowed 30 hits and 14 runs. So in order to match what he did in April, he'd have to go 8 full innings, allow 17 hits and 12 runs. I don't think this Reds lineup is going to do that to him. Granted, he will more than likely have another start here to finish the month. But Chris Paddack, I mentioned second start with Cincinnati after being DFA'd by the Marlins. He saw this Cardinals team last month, allowed 5 runs on 8 hits in 4 2/3, did strike out 7 batters, and gave up a home run to Nathan Church. This Cardinals team, granted, did just lose the series to the Pirates. Their magic might be wearing off here a little bit, but I think they're the right side. Chris Paddack, I believe, has lost 8 straight starts, regardless of Reds or Marlins. Marlins only won 1 of his starts this year. So the Reds, I think, set themselves up for failure by picking up Chris Paddack. So it would be a play on the dog here. The road team, Redbirds, plus the 109.
Plus 109. Yeah, I would definitely lean that way if you made me pick a side. So I'm with you.
All right, we'll go down to Miami, where the Fish welcome the Mets. Tobias Myers against Yuri Perez. Home team favored with the Marlins, minus 112, plus 102 for the Mets. 8 is the total with a 115 to the under.
I'm not going to get involved sidewise here, even though I do think that you're getting a plus price here with the Mets. But there's a clear starting pitcher advantage with Perez going. Looking at his numbers, 58 strikeouts to 28 walks on the year, but he does have a 5.33 ERA. Myers on the other side, we just haven't seen much of him. Just 29 innings pitched. So again, Ryan, I mean, is there value there with the Mets? You're getting a plus price. I got to imagine yes, but I do think we're going to get some runs here, and I think 8's a pretty low number. Yeah, so another over for me, and then I would be looking at the road dog. What about you?
So this should be a bullpen day here from the Mets. Tobias Myers making his second start of the year, has mainly come out of the bullpen to get into those 29 innings. His lone start of the year was a 2-inning start in Chicago against the Cubs. That game did go to extras. He didn't allow a run, only 1 hit in those 2 innings. The Mets did ultimately end up losing that one 2-1 in the 10th. Yuri Perez has given up at least 1 run in all 10 of his starts this year, has allowed 3 or more runs in 8 of his 10 starts this year, and 4+ in 6 of those 10. Mets looking for some way to find runs, and I think they're going to be able to do it here against Yuri. So it's a matter of how long will Tobias go? Will he allow the Marlins lineup to get to him? Can the Mets bullpen be taken advantage of and either find the right matchups, or can the fish get to it? So I think the best play in this one is an over. I think the total of 8's a little low with the juice there to the under. So there is a spot with a 7.5 with the 120 to the over, 7.5 with the 130 to the over. So I think the minus 105 on the 8 would probably be where I go if we're making me play it and going on the over.
I think with you really breaking down Perez in his last few starts and giving up all those runs, I think I am going to play this over here. And you are right about the bullpen. It looks like Shamanaya might be coming in after Myers, who has really just been coming in out of the bullpen this year. So could get some runs there too.
All right, we'll go to another NL East battle here today. This one is in Atlanta. It was supposed to be a Miles Michaelis day, but he got scratched, and we now have Richard Lovelady. Minus 280 or 210, excuse me, for Bryce Elder and the Braves, plus 185 for the Nationals, and 9 is the total, the 115 to the under.
Man, I was really excited about this because
Me too.
even though Miles Michaelis, maybe we haven't gotten all the wins, I thought this Atlanta lineup could definitely make him pay, and we could go Braves team total over or try and find a good run line price here. It is priced the same for either pitcher. And I think Bryce Elder is going to be just fine here against the Nationals lineup that, even though they have been very good offensively, it's got to still just be a Braves team total over, Ryan. We got the unknown, and their bullpen has just been brutal. We've already seen these two, right? Braves won 3 out of the 4 in the first matchups, and they were all very high scoring. We had a 9-4, 11-4, 8-6, and a 7-2. So there's another angle, which we want to just go full game or look at the Braves team total. But what are you thinking?
So I see Jimmy in the chat saying that he's confident with the Nats team to get it done here today against Bryce Elder. Yeah, so you kind of went through the scores of each of those games just to kind of point out a run line was covered in all 4 of those games this year. The Braves covered 3 of them, the Nats covered the other. A minus 105 on the Braves run line to get it done here today, a plus 130 if we're going alternate, Braves to win by at least 3. Yeah, I was looking forward to Miles Michaelis here today. The Braves lineup has a career 742 OPS against Miles Michaelis. So I was really excited to get on this Braves team and probably take that revert or alternate run line and then to kind of pile it on here today. I believe the Nationals in series openers this year are now 11-1 to the over. I'm more confident in the Braves contributing to that total than I am on the Nationals. Bryce Elder did see this Nationals lineup earlier this year, went 6 2/3, allowed 3 hits, 4 runs, and a homer to Dalen Lyle. CJ Abrams, James Wood, and Luis Garcia Jr. went a combined 0 for 10 in that game against Bryce Elder. So he's able to stifle this Nationals lineup the same way. I'm confident enough in this Braves side. Gone over the team total in 4 of their last 5. The time that they didn't, they got shut out. Put up 8 runs in 4 of those, at least 8 runs in 4 of those 5. So I think this Braves lineup will be able to do enough against the Key Love Lady here today. So yeah, it would be a look to the Braves. Probably either if you're, I put the minus 105s on my board before, but plus price with the win having to win by 3.
Do we know if we are laying for over 4.5 or if we are getting a plus price on that one?
Let me take a look.
I should have written that down when I wrote the 4.5.
Braves team total 4.5. Yes, you are laying a minus 154. It's a 5.5 here, and at another shop is where it's kind of where the line set juices to the under on the 5.5, plus price on the over. Let me make sure what South Point's number is.
Wow, and J Main's going with the dog here, huh?
Yep.
So, I mean, he thinks that the Nats are going to get to Bryce Elder. I think that is a pretty solid over again. So,
yeah, here at the South Point, the team total for the Braves is the 4.5 with a minus 135 to the over, plus 115 to the under. Nationals team total is 3.5 with a 105 to the over, 115 to the under, minus both ways. But again, I'm more confident in this Braves team to do it than the Nats. But more power to you, J-Main. We'll go to Milwaukee, where we've got an absolutely outstanding series coming up here in Milwaukee. Dodgers taking on the Brewers. Justin Robleski against Logan Henderson. Pick'em game, minus 105s on the money line here at the South Point. 110s in the market. Slight juice to the Dodgers at some other shops. But 8.5 is your total to 115 to the under.
So my whole train of thought on this one was just that the Dodgers minus 105. Are the Brewers a little overpriced right now, coming off of that sweep of the Cubs? Because I think this is a good opportunity to get the Dodgers at a very cheap price. That's really it for me. I mean, I'd lean to an under at 8.5 with these two pitchers going. Both of them really good right now. Robleski, a 2.49 ERA and a 1.03 WHIP, and then with Logan Henderson, a 3.50 ERA and a 1.06 WHIP. So maybe it's a first 5 under if you want to look at it that way. But Dodgers, I'm gonna play this one. Ryan, take a shot there with that cheap price at minus 105.
So Justin Robleski's record is 6-1. He has qualified for a decision in every single one of his 7 starts this year, obviously earning the win in 6 of those. Has gone at least 6 innings in 6 straight starts, has gone at least 5 in all 7. Granted, he did take the loss against the Braves. Logan Henderson has gone at least 5 innings in each of his starts this month. He did get demoted to AAA Nashville earlier this year. 2 starts to kind of get him back on track. Had an outstanding start in his last start in AAA. Has made a start in the bigs since then. So, yes, I agree with you. Leaning to the under. It's the juice is that way. But this Dodgers lineup has struggled here a little bit, and if Logan Henderson can find a way to avoid those bats, I think this home team is live. Granted, they're feeling really good coming off of a series sweep at Wrigley Field. Now have the division lead. So that's kind of a long way to go about it. But I do think the Brewers are live to win this game. But it's a pick 'em on the minus 105s. So
You're not getting any plus price there.
Yeah.
You'd have to go reverse red line.
Yeah.
A little two-way action there.
let me take a. I don't think they'll end up covering a reverse. I don't know if they'll be able to bat around Robleski that much. But an alternate run line for the Milwaukee Brewers to win by at least 2. This game's at 440. All right, plus 180 for the Brewers to get done.
Wow.
Do what you want. Going to Arizona, where the Rockies are taking on the Diamondbacks, second of this series. D-backs found a way to get it done yesterday. Michael Soroka on the bump for them. Tomoyuki Sugano for the Rockies. 210 are the Diamondbacks at home, plus 185 for the Rocks. 9 is that total with a 115 to the under.
They did find a way to get it done, and it was a very low scoring game here with a walk-off for the Diamondbacks. 2-1 was the final score. I think this has the making of another low-scoring game. I do like both of these pitchers. Sagana was originally supposed to be yesterday, but then the other Zach, what's his last name? Agnes?
Yes. Yes.
He pitched very well, so I think Sagano can follow that up. I like Mike Soroka for the D-backs, so give me the under. Just putting it out there. The steam is going the other way, though, because I did see 8.5, and now I'm getting an even better number, so it seems like people are expecting runs here. What are you expecting?
I'm expecting runs from one side, and that would be the home side. I think Michael Soroka is going to have a good enough start here against the Rockies. Granted, Arizona did get out-hit yesterday, still found a way to win. I believe it was 6-4 total hits combined, so Rockies 6, D-backs 4 in the line score yesterday. Tomoyoki is a contact pitcher. His D-backs lineup finds a way to put a little extra oomph behind the ball. Hopefully the chat can help us out if the roof will be open. Maybe keep you off of that under.
I'm pretty sure it will be open.
There are some spots with an 8.5 with a 125 to 135 on the over that 8.5. I would be looking for just the 9, the minus 105. There's a 9 with an even money to the over. That's with Caesars. So I do think we'll get runs, in my opinion, primarily from the home team side. Because I think Michael Soroka will have a good start here today, but it's a long way to go about it. I think the D-backs win this game.
Might just be looking at minus 2.5 with the Diamondbacks then. Because I do think that they have figured some things out, and their bullpen has looked good. They've won 5 straight coming into this one, and part of the reason why I like the under is the Rockies have really fallen off, and in their last 7, their offensive numbers are terrible, batting .213, a .284 slugging, and a 47 WRC+. To Ryan's point, Arizona's are very blue right now, batting .307, 471 slugging, and a 139 WRC+. Is that the highest? No, the next team that we're going to be betting on is actually the highest WRC+. But so I guess I could stay under that 9, Ryan, if Arizona just wins 6-1 here.
Well, that would be covering the alternate run line of a minus 2.5, getting a plus 135 price on the D-backs to have to win this game by 3.
That's kind of telling. Were you even getting that good of a price with the Braves?
Yeah.
Was it the same?
It was.
I mean, you're getting less. You were getting more with the Braves.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, you're getting 7 cents better on this side than the Braves side. And you're going against a lineup that can't put up runs the same way that the Nationals can.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to the American League side of things. We've got a season debut coming off the IL for Garrett Cole against Nick Martinez and the Tampa Bay Rays. Yankees are a home favorite, minus 143, plus 133 for the Tampa Bay Rays on the road. 8 is that total with a 115 to the under.
A season debut. We didn't see him all of 2025. So we'll see what we get from Garrett Cole. He has made quite a few rehab appearances in the minor league, and coming off of definitely his best one where he went 5 1/3. He did give up 6 hits though, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts to just 1 walk in his last one against Syracuse. Nick Martinez has been awesome for Tampa Bay. I got to give the edge for the starting pitcher just with the unknown with Garrett Cole and coming back. Martinez did already see this Yankees lineup. He went 4 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 home run. Did have 3 walks in that one to his 4 strikeouts. But I think he can pitch pretty well here today. I do think that there is value with the Rays, with the way they are playing, with us backing them and winning money, coming into this one off of a sweep. So 4 straight wins for them. There's 2 ways I think you could play it. Full game, getting that plus 133, or if you want to just kind of depend on Tampa Bay to get to Garrett Cole a little bit and have a lead after the first 5, you're still getting a plus 125 in the first 5 for the Rays. So I may split it up, may take a half a unit on each, but definitely like the Rays here. What say you?
So just to add on to Nick Martinez's start against the Yankees earlier this year, you mentioned his distance and all his stats like that. That did end up a 5-4 win in Tampa for the Rays in extra innings. That did go to 10. So another added note on Nick Martinez outside of that lone start against the Yankees. He's allowed 2 or fewer runs in all 9 starts this year.
Wow.
Has gone at least 5 innings in 8 of those 9 starts. So Nick Martinez has been a tremendous pickup for the Tampa Bay Rays pitching staff. Garrett Cole has made 6 starts in minor league baseball this year as part of his rehab assignment across all 3 levels, high A, double A, and triple A for the Yankees system. He has a 4.66 ERA in those 6 starts across all 3 levels. And in his last 2 starts in AAA, he did have 14 strikeouts in 10 1/3. So that instilled enough confidence for the Yankees to say that he was ready to come back because he was able to strike out 14 and 10 1/3. But as Alex mentioned, he did give up some hits. He was giving up some runs. This Rays lineup has been dangerous this year. So I think there's value on that road side, plus the 133. If you want to go with the alternate run line, the reverse run line, Rays to win by 2, plus 195. Do you think they get to Garrett Cole? You said it perfectly. The unknown in what we're going to get from Garrett Cole. Been missed all of last year. Struggled a little bit in the minor leagues, and now has a very dangerous lineup that swept them down in Tampa. So the Rays is where I think the value is. Best price available in the market is here. Well, there's a 135, but 133 here at the South Point for the money line for the Rays. I will more than likely be taking a bite of that reverse run line. Rays to win by 2, plus the 195. So
195. That's a pretty good price.
Going to Boston, where we got another really good pitching matchup of some not as well-known guys. Connor Prelip for the Twins, Peyton Tolley for the Red Sox. Red Sox, a home favorite of a minus 143. That is the best price available in the market on the home team money line, plus 133 for the road team money line. That is tied for the best price available in the market. 7.5 is the total with a 120 to the under.
Yeah, you said it, Ryan. I'm excited to hear what notes you have on these 2 pitchers, but both of them have a sub-1 whip right now, and neither of them have gotten to 10 walks so far. So 25 innings pitched for Prelip and a 2.88 ERA, 29 strikeouts to 9 walks. And then Peyton Tolley on the other side in his 30 2/3 innings pitched, a 2.05 ERA, 30 strikeouts, just 7 walks. Boston has won 3 in a row. I do think that price is getting a little short here on the home team. If it made me play it, I would take a shot with the Red Sox because I do think we're pretty even on a lot of fronts, including the starting pitchers, offensively, and all of that. So I would take a shot with the home team here, who I think actually has the advantage bullpen and defensive numbers. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to play it at minus 143, and I wouldn't really trust the Red Sox to lay a run line, but that's my lean. So
this is where I went to bed last night. So the only note that I have on this game is the sub-1 whip, sub-3 ERA for these starters. I put a little notes of the things that I'd be looking for here today. Both starters strikeouts over. Both of them are listed at 5.5, which Tolley has not reached in 3 of his last 4 starts. Has only reached in 2 of 5 starts this year. I would just think, yeah, we've been mentioning the last couple of days that the Red Sox magic number has been 3 this year. They are now 19-8 when scoring at least 3 runs in the game, in a game. Granted, 2 of the 3 games earlier this year flew over the totals. Twins did shut out the Red Sox in the middle game of that 6-0. But I am leaning to an under in this game, a first 5 under, which is 3.5. So I've let you guys know before, I don't like playing first 5 unders unless it's a 4.5, because really you just need one bad inning to get to you, and you lose that 3.5. So it is a plus price on the under 3.5 if you're a little more confident than I. But I do think both of these starters will do a good enough job here today. So it leads me to an under full game. And if the Red Sox are able to get to that magic number of 3, I think that's the right side as well. But you're not getting really much value on that 143 to 155 in the market.
Agreed. And neither offense is really that intimidating for these starting pitchers, so they should have a pretty good outing today.
All right, we'll go to Baltimore, where we've got Chris Bassett against Jack Flaherty. Home team O's a -28 money line price available here at the market. That is the best price available in the market by 8 cents to another shop to 17 cents to the majority of others. -145 is where the majority of other shops have it. So best price available on the home team O's is a +128 here at the South Point. +118 for the Tigers on the road, and Jack Flaherty 8.5 is that total.
Ryan, you didn't want to say a great pitching matchup here?
For the better.
We need the drop off for Jack Flaherty needs to be studied because he is like a below average pitcher right now. The question is, do you trust these lineups to take advantage? Because otherwise, I mean, if we're rating these pitchers at where they are right now, below average, we should have a higher total. But their offensive numbers are terrible. The Tigers are really bad. Orioles are a little better. So that does lead you to that side a little bit if you were going to take a side. But do you want to lay that price with Baltimore right now? So it would be over or pass for me. I'd take a shot that these lineups could wake up and get to Flaherty and Chris Bassett. Both of them are above a 150 whip. So I think we're going to see base runners, and I think we're going to see runs here.
Yeah, just to play devil's advocate in a way that's not exactly a real way to do it. Outside of Chris Bassett's first 2 starts of the year where he allowed 4 runs and 6 runs to the Rangers and Pirates respectively, he's had a good start, bad start, every other start. 2 runs allowed, no runs allowed, so I guess 2 bad starts, 2 good starts. But since then, 5 runs, 1 run, 4 runs, 1 run, 4 runs. So that would put him in a good spot here today against, Alex said it, a lineup that is really struggling in the Tigers. So I think it's possible for Chris Bassett to have a good start here today. And we don't get to the total because these lineups are struggling so much. O's lineup did wake up a little bit. And Jack Flaherty, I believe, has now lost 7 consecutive. Let me make sure.
He's been
6 consecutive starts the Tigers have lost with Jack Flaherty on the bump. He has lost, or he's earned 4 lost decisions in those 6 starts. The Tigers haven't won a Jack Flaherty start since April 15th against the Royals, when he allowed the only run that the Royals scored in that game. So, long way to go about it. The possibilities. We have a movable object versus a stoppable force in this game. Possibilities are on both ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
I have no real confident feel in where this one will go.
You know what those every other starts also have in common?
What is that? Home
and road. And I did actually grab this because in his road starts, and this is Chris Bassett, 8.02 ERA and a 197 whip. At home this year, a 291 ERA and a 143 whip, which that's still a little higher than you would like. But the walks are also down. The strikeouts are up. So I guess we would just be fading the Tigers here and going all Baltimore and taking a shot. I mean, probably splitting it up and even going a little bit on the run line because we have seen it, right? And maybe the Panda can give us another home run here and they can get a few extra runs to win this and cover that too. 150, maybe? No?
Yeah, this one, I don't hate it. But again, just no real, that's throwing a dart in my mind. But I do have a little bit more confidence in this O's lineup to be able to do it. And you pointed out the perfect thing to it, the home and road. So they should be able to, but
it's asking a lot, kind of.
In my mind, yeah.
And you never know. Jack Flaherty could have a great start under his belt today. So,
all right, we'll go to Kansas City, where we've got a home underdog. Not a system play, just a home underdog on the Kansas City Royals. Noah Cameron on the bump versus Logan Gilbert, and the Mariners plus 105 for the home team underdog, minus 115 for the road team favorite. 8 is the total with a 120 to the over.
It would be Mariners or pass for me. Pretty short and sweet. I know Gilbert's numbers aren't fantastic this year, but I definitely think he is the the better starting pitcher over Noah Cameron. And let me check his last few starts. He coming off a rough one against the Padres, but before that, he did throw 6 scoreless against the White Sox. I think he should be just fine against this Royals lineup that I don't really trust. Total is 8, where both of these two have really struggled offensively. So doesn't give me a whole lot of faith. I'm going to pass, Ryan, but I do think the Mariners should be at least $1.20 here on the road.
Okay. I tend to think there's value with the under. Both starters should be able to do enough against two lineups that are struggling. Granted, the Mariners are trying to return the favor, little home revenge situation after getting swept in Seattle by these Royals. But yeah, both lineups not doing great as of late. More so on the Royals side, scoring 5 runs in this series. First couple days of this week, having a day off yesterday, only putting up 5 combined runs against the Red Sox. And the Mariners did go over their team total in 2 of the 3 against the White Sox. But all of those, or the White Sox and Padres series, were both back in Seattle. So now they come on the road to Kansas City. We'll see if it's a business trip mentality and they're able to get to know Cameron. But I tend to think that won't really happen here today, and we'll get a low-scoring one in Kansas City.
You also did bring up earlier about the Royals sweeping them earlier. I do like that, which is very contradicting because I didn't use it for the Rays. I'm still on the Rays, but I got to imagine Seattle will be up for this one. Crazy that these two pitchers didn't see these lineups yet this year.
Right.
So just their days didn't line up, but
All right, we'll go to the final American League game here today. That is in Anaheim, where the Rangers and Jacob deGrom are going against the Angels. Road favorite, -148. That is the best price available in the market on the Rangers money line. +138 for the Angels money line. 8 is the total, the 125 to the under.
I think I'm going to look at an alternate team total for the Angels. So their team total is 3.5. I love that under. I think deGrom will be able to shut down this Angels lineup. They are striking out a ton. He's coming off of one of his worst starts where he only had 4 strikeouts against Houston, but the start before that, he threw 7 scoreless against the Cubs and had 10 strikeouts, no walks. The A's are kind of swinging at everything. The Angels are kind of swinging at everything. I think that he could get there for this one. I don't want to lay the run line, though, because I do not trust the Rangers lineup to even give us 2 runs. Although Grayson Rodriguez, we've only seen 1 outing for him, and it was a pretty brutal start against the Dodgers. He went 3 2/3, gave up 7 earned runs on 7 hits. So if there was a pitcher that the Rangers could get to, could this be it? But yeah, that's how I was looking, trying to find some value, trying to back Jacob deGrom. But we know over the years he continues to be one of the pitchers that doesn't get a lot of run support. So that scares me off a little bit. What do you think?
So the Rangers have gone over their team total now in 4 straight games. Granted, it was in Houston and it was in Colorado, but they put a 8-0 shutout in their final one in Houston, 7-6 loss in the first one in Colorado, then a 10-0 shutout win and a 5-4 win against the Rockies on Wednesday. The Angels are coming to this one off the back-to-back extra inning losses, and got beat up on Wednesday 14-6, and then got no hit until the bottom of the 9th in Tuesday's start for JT again. So the Angels also, not sure how much everyone else is on social media, but there has been a stat to come out this morning. In their last 40 games, the Los Angeles Angels have the fewest saves in Major League Baseball. Alex, you want to take a guess at how many saves the Angels have in the last 40 games?
Oh my gosh. How many?
1.
Oh, I was going to guess 2, but I thought that sounded crazy.
They have 1 save in their last 40 games. The Tampa Bay Rays have the Major League high in the last 40 games of 22 saves. So bullpen finding a way to get done. And the Angels haven't been winning games regardless, haven't been leading games regardless to even get themselves into save situations. I have to think that Jacob deGrom is going to have a great start here today, and this Rangers lineup full business trip mentality. They're on a road trip. They were on the road for the last 2 series. Angels just sucking at home for their last 2 series, and they're now still in a homestand. So I do have some confidence in the Rangers to win this one by at least 2. Grayson Rodriguez, you mentioned, give up 7 runs. Granted, it was against the Dodgers in 3 2/3, and then his lone start of the year. But I think the Rangers lineup will find a way to get to him, and their bullpen will do enough. Jacob deGrom will give us enough length. So you'll see Rangers run line on my board here today.
Well, you made a great point, and I think I might follow and go that way rather than an Angels team total under 2.5, which feels a little scary, even though with their last win, they only needed 2 runs. So, yeah, but I didn't realize the Rangers went over their team total in their last 4 games. So that gives me confidence. I'll be jumping on that with you.
All right, we've got first pitch in Chicago already thrown. So the first interleague game of the day already underway. Cubbies closing a -135 home favorite here at the South Point, +125 for the Stros, and the total closed 7 with a 120 to the under. We did have a chat question of why the total was so low. Wind is blowing in directly from center, gusts up to 20 miles an hour in that one. But you can no longer bet on that one unless you're betting on that one live. So we'll go to Philly, where the first pitch is at 3:40 Pacific time. Guardians and Phillies, Gavin Williams, Christopher Sanchez, -175 for the home team Phils, +160 for the Guards, 6.5 is that total with a 120 to the over.
Wow. I think we're getting a little bit too low here. I mean, even if you get 6 innings out of both of these starting pitchers, then we do have to get to the bullpens, right? We could get over this 6.5. I know Christopher Sanchez is a machine, and right now I believe he is second favorite to win the NL Cy Young, as he should be. 5-1 on the year at 182 ERA, 120 WHIP. He's coming off of 3 starts where he did not give up a run, and surpassed 100 pitches in the last 2. So he went 9 against Pittsburgh. That's right. But I think there's some value on Gavin Williams, who I think has also been pretty good. Right now, he's got 73 strikeouts, just 22 walks. It's tough. It's really going to need the Guardians to somewhat get to Sanchez, get him out of the game, and then get to the bullpen there. But I just think that is a little steep, -175. And I mean, Guardians, they've won 5 in a row? 6 in a row coming into this. So you're getting +160 with a team that does find ways to win. What do you think, Ryan?
I think this total is too low. So maybe, J-Man, you can help us out what the weather is like in Philadelphia. But yeah, you mentioned Christopher Sanchez's last 3 starts has not allowed a run since the end of April. So 3 consecutive starts, going at least 7 innings in all 3 of those, 30 strikeouts in those last 3 starts, 7 innings again, and now in all 3 of those, 8 innings against the A's, 7 against the Rockies, and then a complete game in his last start in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. You mentioned that maybe we can get to the bullpens. Phillies haven't had to have much of their bullpen in Christopher Sanchez's starts as of late. So can the Guardians chase him out early? I do think they'll be able to be pesky, whether that be fouling balls off or getting base runners on, working walks and such. So really my most confident is, I guess, still not even confident because I don't think the Phillies lineup will be able to get to Gavin Williams, but is thinking that total is a little too low. Not exactly confident that the Phillies will win by 2 to cover the run line. Not really confident the Guardians can beat Christopher Sanchez. But Alex said it, the Guardians have found ways to win, coming off a series sweep against the Tigers, who have just found ways to lose as well. So ultimately, this will be one to watch for entertainment purposes. J-Man letting us know, not too hot, not too cold, and he's not fading the Phillies today. So I would be more confident in backing Christopher Sanchez than Gavin Williams here today.
But he likes him to get struck out. I like that. Gavin over 6.5 Ks. Jeez, we say that. Just wait then. in game this. I
Yeah.
mean, if it's 0-0 in the 5th, and then we can get over 2.5 or something, right?
Yeah.
And then
Pay-
get to the bullpens.
Pay attention, to what pitch counts are, if you're able to live bet it. Yeah, my prediction would be, well, let me take a look at what outs are for Christopher Sanchez. My prediction would be another 7-inning outing.
How did the Cubbies get so many hits off of him?
That was when they were feeling good. Not so much as of late. Christopher Sanchez. Pitcher outs. Christopher Sanchez, 18.5. So needing to see past the start of the 6th inning, needing a out in the 7th. But the juice is that way with a 123 to have over the 18.5. Again, I think he does get there. Gavin Williams at a 17.5, so just needs a quality start, needs to get to the end of the 6th there for Gavin Williams, but that's even heavier juice to the over on the 17.5 outs. So it's priced that way that we'll get quality starts out of both these pitchers. I do tend to agree that we will see that today. All right, we'll go to Toronto, where we do have another outstanding pitching matchup. Kevin Gausman against Bubba Chandler. 151 is the home team Blue Jays favored price, plus 141 best price available. Both of those best price available in the market on these money lines. 8 is the total, 110 both ways.
I think it might be time to buy in a little bit on this Toronto Blue Jays team. I do trust Kevin Gausman more than I trust Bubba Chandler. I think he has. Oh, I should because you were talking about Tyone's strikeouts, right? What does he have?
JMO's home runs is what I pointed out.
Oh, that was it. Okay. Well, Bubba Chandler right now, 31 walks. He does have the most of everybody going today. 31 walks to his 36 strikeouts. Kevin Gausman, 53 strikeouts to his 9 walks. I think this is a Blue Jays spot. I know the Pirates are feeling pretty good coming into this one, winning back-to-back games as well, but you got the starting pitcher advantage. And if you look under the hood, Bubba Chandler's numbers are not good. His xFIP in his last 3 starts is an 8.11. Batting average for opponents is a 250. That's not terrible, but it's at 8.11 that makes me a little nervous here. So I'd be looking at Toronto. Nothing cute in here, just a minus 151 for them to win the game. What about you?
So the Pirates have lost their last 5 starts with Bubba Chandler on the mound, have lost 7 of his 9 starts this year. Yeah, I agree with you. I think this Braves team is the right side. Granted, the Pirates did go over their team total in all 3 games in St. Louis. Will they be able to get to Kevin Gausman here today? I don't entirely think so. J-Man let us know. Oh, Canada, Pittsburgh, Pirates team total under. That is also where I would tend to be looking because I don't want to lay the 160. 151 for the Blue Jays to win this one on the money line. I think this one will be another low scoring type game.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Team total under.
Blue Jays also, so Pirates over their team total in their last 3, all in St. Louis. Toronto win with 2 runs in each of their last 2 games against the Yankees. So their lineup wasn't, well, granted, they were going against some pretty quality starting pitching. And you mentioned Bubba Chandler's numbers aren't as great as they seem, even though they don't really seem that great. So we'll go to San Diego, where we got Walker Buehler going against Jeffrey Springs and the A's. Buehler and the Padres are a minus 123 home favorite, plus 113 for the A's. 8 is the total with a 125 to the under.
Man, I was so excited about this one, Ryan, to jump in, take the A's, get a plus price. I do think that they could beat the Padres here, who I really just have not been impressed with their bats this entire season. The Athletics, you mentioned it, that one high-scoring game against the Angels. Other than that, it hasn't been all that impressive, but I do think they could get to Walker Buehler. I think Jeffrey Springs can pitch good enough in this spot to hold down the Padres lineup. Now, second thought was, okay, well, let's go to first 5 because the Padres have the best bullpen in the league, and let's get that scenario out of there. I think there's one plus price in the market. Other than that, you're laying minus 105. It's not terrible, but I thought maybe we'd get a little bit, maybe even money. So plus 113, I'm just going to take a shot. We need the A's to put up enough runs, though, to where we feel safe when both of them start to go to the bullpen. But I think that's where the value is. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think you're right. South Point has the 8, but they are the heaviest juice in the market to the under. So unless we get there early, I don't think this A's lineup is going to be able to get to this Padres bullpen. So we're going to have, and I don't trust this A's bullpen either. So Padres team has found a way to work their magic late in these games, knowing that their pitching staff will be able to hold their opponent back. So if you are going to play the A's side, granted Alex said the first 5, and it is a minus 105 first 5 for the A's on the money line. Don't fault you for taking the plus price full game, but I tend to think the Padres will find a way to work a little Petco magic and win this one late.
Plus price might be gone. So it might even be looking to like lay a half a run for the first 5 if you wanted to go that route, or just lay minus 105. That's not terrible. I mean, it's basically a pick 'em, right? So, but I think they're going to win this game, Ryan. That's where I have to differ.
So before we get to White Sox Giants, Cardinals Reds is postponed. So that one's pushed back. We now have no doubleheader in this series. They're going to play a 2-game set Saturday, Sunday. It looks like they will make it up. Have not scheduled when to make it up yet. So might see a doubleheader this weekend, might not. All right, we'll go to San Francisco, where the White Sox are taking on the Giants. Dean Martin is a road favorite, minus 110, even money for the Giants to get it done at home. 7.5 is the total, the 125 to the under.
This should actually be a pretty good pitching matchup here between these two, where Martin and Trevor McDonald, haven't seen that much of him, but so far so good. Both of these two pitchers, a 1 or sub-1 whip. Coming into this, that leads me to an under. I'm not going to lay that minus 125, though, to go under 7.5, because both of these lineups have been heating up a little bit, and both over 100 WRC plus here. I mean, slugging very good, over 450 for both of them. So I'm just going to stay off of this one, Ryan, but I was leaning to an under here. What do you think?
So the Giants, this has been the one successful pitcher that they've been able to back this year, winning each of his 3 starts in Trevor McDonald. On the flip side, though, Dean Martin and the White Sox have won 8 of his 9 starts. He's gone at least 5 in all 9 starts, has gone 6 innings in 7 of those 9, 1 out shy of doing it against the Angels for 8 of 9. So this Giants lineup, really struggling. I don't think they'll be able to get to Dean today. So I tend to agree we'll get to the under. And I think this White Sox team is the right side. So plus 155 on that run line.
Wow.
Tempting in my mind.
I do think the White Sox should be closer to $1.20 here. So 10 cents, but it's enough to definitely lead me that way. Plus 1, is that 155?
155.
All right. We got to talk hockey before we get out of here, before we get our whiteboards ready. We got a game 2 in Colorado. Very curious, your thoughts, what you're thinking is going to happen here, where I think the Knights not only shocked the hockey world, but they also shocked the Avs in that pretty dominating game 1. So what do we expect here besides obvious adjustments for this Avalanche team that is very good, and try to tie it back up?
Yeah, before I answer that one, Dean asking where I'm finding my information. Can you elaborate a little more on what information you're looking for for me to share that stuff? But for tonight's hockey game between the Vegas Golden Knights and Colorado Avalanche, we mentioned with Chris, no Cale Makar. It has been released in the last hour. No Mark Stone as well. And Korzak will be in for Hutton for the Golden Knights. I went about it yesterday, kind of saying that if you're going to take the Knights series price, wait. I think the Avalanche will respond here tonight and win this game. That was a little bit thinking Cale Makar would be in, but granted, he's obviously dealing with a huge ailment in his shoulder. So some checking would probably get to that a little bit more. So obviously, I'm going to be rooting for the Knights to get it done here tonight. Plus 170 on that money line to steal both games in Colorado is super tempting. If you're getting over $3 as well for this one to go to overtime, $3.15.
Wow.
I do think this one will be tighter than it was in game one. Again, Knights aren't playing with any pressure. This Avalanche team, yes, missing one of, if not the best defenseman in the National Hockey League, but also President's Trophy winners. So they've got the home ice. Is it a curse to win the President's Trophy? Last team to hoist the cup that won it was Chicago Blackhawks. So 2013, 10, one of those two. Anyway. Either Knights money line, I think, is where the value is. Game to go to overtime, plus the 315, I think, is also value. Thinking it'll be a tighter game. But will I be shocked if the Avalanche make the adjustments and cover a puck line here? No, but plus 170 is what I'll be taking.
I know you said you think it'll be a tighter game, but do you think that means goals from both sides? Because I got to imagine that the Avs find a way to get past Carter Hart, and that means the Knights kind of chasing. So I think we're going to see more goals, even though it pushed on the 6 because of the empty netter the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Over 1.5 is, in the first period, is juice to the over, about 25. And another angle I was kind of looking at, Ryan, is minus a half a puck on the Avs at home. First period is plus 145. So if they are up 1-0 going into intermission after the first period, you are getting plus 145. Because I got to imagine McKinnon and company come out with their hair on fire.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Yeah, you put it the best. Coming out with their hair on fire. We've also gotten used to knowing this Knights team. Granted, it was more Cassidy than Tortorella, but starting games slow. So, yeah, Avalanche to kind of bounce back in a fashion that we've gotten used to the Avalanche being able to do. Having a goal lead at the end of one after the first 20 minutes, a big plus price from that to do it. And the Knights to even it up and hopefully win it in the second and third. That might not be a bad way to go about it. Only needing to be right for 20 minutes rather than 60 or more. I don't hate that.
All right, I'm gonna add it. Take a little piece of that today. Have a rooting. Well, I guess it's kind of an emotional edge too.
Right.
But if it's only the first period, it's fine because we know the Knights are typically a third period, even though they've been a lot better in the playoffs.
Carter Hart also has one game this month with a sub 9 save percentage, 0.9 save percentage.
Wow.
So yeah, been an absolute wall between the pipes for the Vegas Golden Knights, and he's going to need to continue to be that if they're going to win this series and ultimately win the next one. But yeah, have to think the Avalanche are going to come out with adjustments made and finding angles to whether it's throwing at the puck. I don't think they're just going to be throwing it at the net and hoping for bounces. I think they're going to find a way to scheme some wide open windows for some of the best players in the National Hockey League. So do tend to agree that we're looking at an over type game. Don't hate the Avalanche to win the first period. But also a could be a homer pick, is a homer pick, plus the 170 on the Knights.
Plus 170 for VGK. Let's talk about tomorrow's game. And I am very upset with myself because I had already made my number, but I did not check it yesterday. So saw that under 5.5, thought immediately that the series would kind of match how the Canadians played Tampa Bay. I did have the game at 6 with my actual number that I made. So it was a terrible bet on my part. I'm kind of think, I don't know. It's 6 again, so I don't have a play there. What are we thinking here for game 2, Ryan? And what adjustments are the Canes going to make, if any? Or is it panic time? Because as I mentioned to Chris, Montreal's now 4-0 against Carolina this year.
And 3-0 against Frederick Anderson. I don't know if it's panic time yet. I have to think that the 4 goals in 11 minutes will be an anomaly in this series. So no real, I guess, I would tend to think we're going to get a little more defensive game because that's the way the Canes want to play, and they have made the argument that the Avalanche have no problem playing any way you want to play it. I do think the rust versus rhythm came into play last night. I get the Avalanche took a 1-0 lead 30 seconds into the game. But once you got off that first line, it kind of tilted the other way. So have to think that getting back into the rhythm will come into play. The Hurricanes obviously want to defend home ice and not go down 2-0 back into the Bell Center. So I think obviously the Hurricanes are priced as the big $2 favorite at home. I'm not going to say that I think I joked around yesterday that you said gentleman sweep one way, I said gentleman sweep the other.
Yep.
I'm obviously rooting for the Habs, Canadians, to win this series with the Eastern Conference future, and then hopefully rooting against them with the Knights Canadians Golden or Stanley Cup final. But I do have a future on the Habs to win the cup as well. But we'll have no problem rooting against them if the Knights are the team that they're doing it against. So anyway, I think the Canadians, I'm going to be playing these dogs in these games, in this series, in both of these series. But have to think the Hurricanes are going to be back more in their pace and with adjustments made. Yeah, Nick mentioned in the Eastern Conference final, 1-17 since they last won the cup. So yeah, it might just be they can't get over the hump.
And then it'd be the question if Rod Brindamore should be fired or not if the Canes can't get over the hump this year, right? Was that just Eastern though? Not just the Canes? But that is the big question. That trend?
It's Canes specific in the Eastern Conference Finals
That's
specifically.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then tonight, did you jump in on the Spurs plus 140 to win this series?
I jumped in on the 190 when we had the series opener.
Okay.
So yeah, rooting for the Spurs to get it done. Also, there is a trend that I saw this morning that is on a 9-0 run with home favorites coming off of a loss. Granted, they did not win or did not lose at home. They lost game 2 in Oklahoma City. But favorites of shorter than 10 coming off of a loss now a home favorite of shorter than 10. Don't know where the full number went, but on a 9-0 run, 44-22 against the spread since 2018.
Jeez.
9-0 against the spread run in the last 9. That did apply to the Thunder in game 2 in that. But again, we won't find out if De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper are in this game until an hour before tip-off because the NBA is a joke. But I do think that the Spurs are the right side in this series ultimately.
Need at least one of the two, right? And then I'd feel very confident laying the 2 and being on the Spurs side. But
also haven't seen an update on Jalen Williams.
I think they're all just questionable right now.
So yeah, I have to know what you're doing.
But
those.
OKC is pretty
Seems
deep.
More unlikely than likely.
Wow.
Per Shams Charania that he plays today. So if the Thunder are missing J-Dub, I think that even favors the Spurs even more, even if they have Fox and Harper out. So, and again, will officiating favor the Thunder more? It has the last 2 years, but not going to bet against Wemby.
Yep. And it didn't in game 1, so
right.
Now we're going back to San Antonio, so shouldn't here in this one. All right, let's get get to our ticker trivia. We'll do our poll results, and then we'll get out of here.
You sure you don't want to get to 2 hours?
We might.
All right, ticker trivia presented by City Light Shine, available at Lee's Discount Liquor, Total Wine, and here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. Stanley Cup postseason question for everyone today. Which two NHL franchises have met most frequently in the history of the Stanley Cup playoffs? So not the Cup final specifically, in the playoffs as a whole. Which two teams have met most frequently in the history of the Stanley Cup playoffs? That is our ticker trivia question presented by City Light Shine. We will reveal the answer here in a bit as we'll go to our poll results for our live viewers today. Returning the favor. Which team returns the favor and sweeps their opponent in their second season series? Yankees got swept in Tampa by the Rays. So Yankees doing the reverse, sweeping this series in New York here today. Or the Mariners getting revenge, home revenge now in Kansas City after getting swept in Seattle by these Royals. And 71% of the chat is saying the Mariners will sweep the Royals in Kansas City this weekend. So going against a bad lineup right now in the Royals, and probably back in that starting pitching for the Mariners. So 71% of the chat think the Mariners can win all 3 games here in Kansas City this weekend.
All right.
We
See if they can start it today. I actually kind of wanted to add them to the board as well, but
so we had 2 questions from the chat, Dean, where I'm finding the information. I don't know if I want to say just the letters or Rish. Also asking what sample size we're looking for out of starting pitching. So do you have a kind of a requirement for starting pitching sample size to maybe answer that question, or what stats do you kind of look at the most for plays on starting pitchers?
well, sample size for the starting pitchers, I've got the medians of every start. So for the season, so it's a pretty good sample size now, right? With 10 starts for these guys. But then I do like to look at last 3 and kind of current form.
Yeah, I really more look at recent starts. Pitch counts, hits, and innings pitched are really the 3 that I look at the most, and take into account the opponent they're playing, and kind of work my way mentally to doing it rather than looking for a specific stat and saying that, yeah, I'm going to back that. I haven't really dove in much into the extreme analytics with all the extra stats. Those are really the 3 that I kind of key on and more try and find my way to thinking how pitchers will go.
Well, Brian, so when I use RotoWire, because I do use RotoWire a lot and get all of their game logs and stuff for the pitchers, first of all, it's very frustrating because they don't have if they started the game or not. Kind of just have to figure that out. But also they just have win-loss or nothing, right? If they weren't charged with it or didn't go deep enough into the game. Where do you find, because I think that is right when Dean Hilt asked, where where every pitcher, if it was a win-loss or what their final score was. Do you go game by game to their starts?
So I primarily use ESPN as the site just to kind of keep track of everything. They have the full record of game by game starts. They also have the game score, GSC. That only applies to starting pitching. So for relievers, they will have, for the guys that are openers and what have you, they'll have a 0 game score if they've only had coming in relief. If they did happen to be an opener and a start, they will have more than a 0 value in that GSC column. So that's kind of been just counting how many starts they've made, and also have game by game logs of previous years. You can also use Baseball Reference to try and get splits versus specific teams. That's another site. Nick's letting us know that CBS Sports also has good stats. There's plenty of sites out there that have good stats and analytics. But primarily, in order to get you guys the information coming out of my mind, I use ESPN to find my way to do it.
Oh, I see that now too. The game score. Very good. I never knew that. So that GSC there. And yeah, they do have win-loss or just if the team, the result is over there too.
Yep.
So you will know. All right. Ryan's got to get his whiteboard ready. So I will take my time on my whiteboard. And I'm sorry, Joey B, I don't have 2 whiteboards today, even though I am trying to prep for Memorial Day weekend. This one is just the future bets that I made, and that is the Spurs to win this series. Stan Coven, 850 to have the most goals. Luckily, it was 5 different goal scorers, right? So maybe we can get a hat trick, and we can still win that. And then Canes minus 1.5 games in this series. That might be a little scary. Let's go to today's bets, though, on this Friday, May 22nd. So fun with words down here. I think Ryan might enjoy some of these. But I am starting off with the $400 million roster here. Give me the Dodgers at minus 105 to beat the Brewers, who are feeling really good coming off of that Cubs sweep. I think the Dodgers can get it done. And I'm going to take a little bit on the run line there, plus 150. Rockies and Diamondbacks, I know, roof open, could be potentially hot there, but I'm going under 9. I just don't really trust this Rockies lineup. I don't think they're going to put up a ton of runs here in this one, and I just think that total is set too high, just with what we know about the Diamondbacks. But I think Soroka can really shut down Colorado. This is the kind of fun with words here, because we got Rays, A's, and Rangers. So we got, Rangers, Rays, A's. There we go. Rangers minus 1.5 with Jacob deGrom plus 110. Just get us a few run support there. Rays plus 125 first 5, Rays plus 133 full game. And then A's plus 113 with the lefty Jeffrey Springs. Let's see if he can shut down this Padres lineup. Last but not least, and I'm just going to take a shot there. First period, we're going with the big favorites. So the Avs minus half in the first period, plus 145. And then I'm going to go with the Canes plus 135 to be leading in the first period tomorrow. So that's it for me. Good plus prices. Some teams who've been backing. Some new unders here, but let's see if we can get it done. Ryan, what do we got?
All right. Is that moved off of the 110? Apparently. All right, we'll go with that one. We got 3 run lines, one of which reverse. This one's the homer. You know what I mean when I put that one. Braves covering the run line, a minus 105 at home against the Nationals. I will be taking a bite of the 2.5 plus the 130 against the Nationals. But for board purposes, having to win by 2, it's not a minus 110, which I did include on the board yesterday. So still the underdog play in that one. The Rays covering the reverse run line, covering the 1.5. Rays winning by 2 in Yankee Stadium, plus 195. The Rangers winning by at least 2 in Angel Stadium, minus 105. And the Golden Knights taking a 2-0 series lead in Colorado against the Avalanche, a plus 170 price there. 2 big plus prices, 2 low juice prices on the whiteboard here today. Also, if you want to take it for tomorrow, I will be playing the Canadians, but that's also my bankroll. So if you think the Hurricanes can even it back up, the weather teams can even it back up, don't fault you.
Yeah, too many C's. Colorado, Carolina, Canadians, just a lot of C's going on here. I do like that shout out right there for Stats Head for Baseball Reference. I love Baseball Reference. $10 a month. I'll have to check that out as well because Baseball Reference is really good. But Okay, let's cash some tickets. Let's get a Knights win here to go up 2-0 in the series would be fantastic. And let's have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy your 3-day weekend. Brian, you probably have a ticker trivia
That
answer.
I do. Yeah, I do have a ticker trivia answer here today. We'll go back to question, and then we'll reveal the answer. We forgot to really reveal the answer yesterday. But which two NHL franchises have met the most frequently in the history of the Stanley Cup playoffs? And JR did have today's correct answer of Boston Bruins and Montreal Canadiens because they've met 34 times in the postseason to date. Canadiens hold a 25-9 record in those postseason series, most recent matchup occurring back in 2014. JR was first correct today. Shout out to Rish, Attila, and any other resident veterans in the chat. Thank you for your service to this country, and enjoy your Memorial Day on Monday.
Absolutely. Well said. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. Should I just do we want to keep going for 2.5 more minutes? So we can get to the 2 hours.
What are you doing for Memorial Day?
a lot of barbecuing. Here we go. Aunt
do have the
Sister,
aviators in
shout out
town.
to Aunt Sister who just walked in as well. Or Andrew's aunt, whatever we want to say here. All right, let's get out of here. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Come see us at the ballpark if you are in Las Vegas. We'll be wearing our military kind of veterans jerseys on Sunday. So, Sports by the Book, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time on the Sports by the Book YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Please like the show. And please just enjoy your weekend. Thank you to the crew, Andrew, Ann, Jerry, Sean, and Vince. Go Knights. We'll see you guys next week. For Ryan McCormick, I'm Alex White. Have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Weekend, everyone.